Hello, government students. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I have your notes for Chapter 4, Section 4, Differing Views about Federalism. So, how federalism affects public policy? Well, states and local governments have become proving grounds for new ideas. And so I want to give you some examples. The state of Georgia was the first state to allow 18-year-olds the right to vote. They did this a little bit before the passage of the 26th Amendment. Colorado pioneered the use of what we call a sunset law. This is a vocab term that you might have had, but sunset laws are put into place to see whether or not a government agency is still needed. So, for example, we have different agencies that have been set up to provide services for the United States. You could talk about organizations that are set up to help with the healthcare and veterans services and such. And every once in a while, those laws or those agencies are no longer needed. And the question is, can we allow those agencies to basically be ended so that we could free up government money and prevent waste? And Colorado was the first to do that. And now, when we look at it at the federal level, we do have that ability to do that as well. In California, local groups started air pollution control programs. These are still widely available in the state of California, but that would be a proving ground for a new idea. All right. And number two, public pressure at the national level forces states and local policy changes. So there are a couple items here as examples. After the Civil War, Democrats lost control of the presidency, but they still controlled like the state houses in the Deep South and also controlled a lot of the local government. Part of that was the fact that if you had been a member of the Confederate Army, a lot of those folks lost their citizenship, and so they weren't able to serve in the national government. But state law might have allowed them to serve at a local level. From 1953 to 1996, the Democrats actually controlled Congress when we talk about both the Senate and the House. And they did this even though only 4 out of the 11 terms the presidents had been actually Democrats. So it is possible that you can see a Republican president and a all Democratic Congress for the most part, or at least Democrats and the majority of Congress. They were still able to get some things done. So you can have that, and that's one of those places where you can see public pressure at the national level forcing changes at the local level. Number three, people have many points of access to the government, increasing their opportunities to affect policy at some point. Some examples of this: Americans elect obviously more governors, mayors, and city council members and school board members than we do presidents. There are far more offices available if a person wanted to run, at the local level or state level than there obviously is at the national level. It's easier for people to be elected to these local and state offices. Citizens actually have more impact on the local issues and policies than they probably do at the federal level. So if you really want to make a difference, do something closer to home. Okay, get on city council, be a county supervisor or county commissioner, things like that. And number four, professional politicians at the state and local levels routinely gain political expertise. So again, there are far more offices that you can run for at the local or state level. And this is where people who want to be politicians can learn how to create policies. And a lot of times this is where they get their expertise. So at some point in time, if they do want to run for Congress or even better yet, run for president, they would have some kind of expertise that they can campaign on. All right, 4 advantages of federalism. First, it allows state and local governments to test new policies. It also lessens the risk of one political party holding a monopoly on power. gives people easier access to run for political offices, and it also gives Americans more choices among different political and economic environments. All right. Federalism increases opportunities for political participation. So, increase opportunities for political participation. One, we have frequent elections. Usually, every couple of years, we have kind of a midterm election, and then we also have 2 years later a presidential election. Uh, this gives people opportunities to be involved, getting out to vote. It also allows us to interact with many elected officials from the national level all the way down to the local level. And finally, it's a better chance of affecting the outcomes of decisions at the local level. All right. Thank you very much.